I am a school leader. I'm a school leader. I have been in the education space for over 2 decades, and I've been through the classroom as a teacher, and I've been a school leader in quality assurance, assessment development, curriculum development, and currently I am the deputy head in an international school right here in Lagos. So I would like to know where we are joining from. It will be my pleasure to know where we're joining from so that we know whether our audience is just limited to Nigeria or other parts of the world. Please feel free to put in where you're where you're joining us from in the chat room. That would be our pleasure. So let's dive into why we are here today for us to learn about moving from compliance to quality. And there are so many things that school inspectors do not tell us. Many times, inspection period is always a pain point in the lives of many, many school leaders. And this does not need to be so. And so we're going to talk about why we should not go through that stress, because it's not just about you ticking the boxes, but it's about you creating and developing processes and culture, that will help us in the process of inspection. So why are we here today? There are three objectives that we've set out to achieve today. Next slide, please. There are three objectives that we set out to achieve today. And the first one is for us to identify the key components of inspection framework. Because the truth of it is, there are framework that will help us when we are undergoing inspection. So we identify the key components. What are the key areas that we need to focus on? And secondly, it's important for us to distinguish between quality from compliance. There is an aspect of quality and there's an aspect of compliance. And if you're looking at the theme for today, it says from compliance to quality. So you take one step and then you move on to another step. So from compliance to quality. And lastly, we would explore key aspects of school that will foster a proactive quality culture. Now, what exactly is compliance? I'd like us to share our ideas. When we talk about compliance, what comes to your mind when we talk about compliance? What are those things that come to your mind when you hear compliance? We talk about compliance with the children, you need to comply. When we're talking to inspectors, we talk about compliance. When it comes to processes, we all talk about compliance. When we talk about rules, we talk about compliance. Every organization, so if you have a manufacturing company, there are certain regulatory bodies, that would oversee the quality of their production and things like that. And that is why you have so many regulatory bodies depending on the industry. So for example, we have the Standard Organization of Nigeria, who oversees the quality of products that are brought into the country. You have NAFDAC, that's a regulatory body for medicine, drugs, and things related like that. You have the GMP, those who are in charge of manufacturing of food. And now in education, of course, it's also important that we also have a regulatory body. And so when you talk about compliance, it's all about an act of you conforming to certain rules, to certain regulations, to certain standards. So they are holding you to their minimum standards. Whatever body is overseeing, we are looking at education, for example. Thank you so much. Somebody said compliance is following rules. I do agree with you. It's about conforming to rules, to regulations, to standards, or to laws that are established by government or governing bodies. That is exactly what compliance, that is what it is. So compliance is conforming to rules, to regulations, to standards. It's important. You can see the standards. If you're looking at the word cloud here, you will see the standards are there. You would see strategy. You would see control. You will see the regulations, comply, report, your risk. What internal analysis are you doing? What about your processes? That is all about compliance, making sure that how you choose to work in your school and operate in your school meets the minimum requirements or meet the minimum standards that have been stipulated by the respective government, I mean. And I am fully aware that we have a mixed audience here. So I am going to limit my conversation to two contexts. I'm going to look at a UK context, and I'm going to look at a Nigerian context. And why I've chosen that is because I'm fully aware that many school owners who are on this call, many people use the blended curriculum. And so what exactly is it? If you're using the UK curriculum, you're adapting it to your needs in your school, merged with the Nigerian government curriculum. Of course, there are so many, every country also has their regulatory bodies, but I've chosen to streamline everything to the context of these two bodies. Now, we will go on looking at Ofsted. Next two slides, please. Looking at Ofsted. Ofsted is a regulatory body under the Ministry of Education in the UK. And next slide, please. And what they do is called Office for Standard in Education for Children's Services and Skills. So they're basically looking at everything education for children between the ages of 2.5 all the way to all through to A levels. So that's what Ofsted stands for. And they have a specific inspection framework that they use when they're having inspection to check compliance in schools. There are 4 major areas, but I have decided to add the 5th area, and I will tell you why later. So we look at the quality of education, we look at safeguarding, we look at behavior and attitudes. They also look at the personal development of children. They look at leadership and management. It appears like these are broad areas and they look so simple, but I kid you not. What they check in every of these aspects is quite nerve-wracking. For those people who have undergone some sort of school inspection before would know what I mean when I say that is nerve-wracking. Many school leaders spend sleepless nights, months, some even takes years to prepare for inspection. Now, in the quality of education, what Ofsted looks out for is what is the intent, which means that before you can have a curriculum, you must have your intent. What's the purpose of this curriculum? What do you set out to achieve? And in setting out, so your scope of work, the scheme of work, whatever it is that you use, they will also look at how you are implementing. So you have something on paper, you have your scheme of work, you have something that is written, but how is it being implemented in the classroom? And so that would have to do with how are the teachers delivering? They will look at your pedagogical approach to, what it is that you've stated on paper. And they're going to look at the impact. Truthfully, if you are teaching the children, what impact does that have on the children's learning? Are the children able to internalize the learning, or are they learning by rote? So these are the things that inspectors will look out for under quality of education if it is Ofsted that is inspecting. Now, there's an aspect under quality of education that is not clearly stated, is not boldly stated, but it's part of the things that are also being inspected. And I call that the reading and early maths. So there are major focus areas under quality of education. You will see them delving a lot into reading. And if you agree with me, reading is fundamental to learning. If a child knows how to read at an early age, you sort out every other thing. So they are so big on reading. What reading program do you use? How do you infuse reading into every area of learning? And they look at maths as well. So those 2 key areas are part of the things that they look out for under quality of education. I will move on to talk about behavior and attitudes, because I'm talking about the 4 main areas that Ofsted inspects you on. And so when you're looking at behavior and attitudes, they want to check, do your children come to school? How frequent are they at coming to school? What is the attendance rate like generally, in the school? They're looking at the environment. Are you creating a conducive learning environment, for the children? They're looking at how do the children, do they exhibit levels of respect in terms of their behavior? How big are you on kindness, on promoting mutual respect, on preventing bullying, for example, in your school? Are your children happy to come to school? Are the children safe to come to school? All of these things are things that Ofsted checks in the framework. And then the third thing that Ofsted checks is your personal development. And here they're going to look at what you call your extracurricular activities. What broad range of extracurricular activities do you offer in your school? Is it broad? Is it balanced? Is it wide? Do you have a wide scope of extracurricular activities? And are you able to cater for the needs of all the children within your school system? These are the things, and they're also going to look at your values. What are your values? What are the things that drive you as a school? Under personal development, there's something we call the British values. They're going to look at, democracy. They're going to look at your PSHE, that's physical, social, health, education. All of these things. How do you teach, the PSHE? How important is it in your school, or is just a checklist for them? So these are the things, and they're also going to look at inclusion. Do you include all the children, regardless of their race, regardless of their ethnicity, regardless of their economic status, regardless of their physical ability? Do you offer an inclusive curriculum? These are things that Ofsted would explore under this framework. And then what they also explore is leadership and management. If you agree with me, you know that everything rises and falls, on the leader. So it's important, even though your leaders will breathe, fire on you, brimstone and all of that, just know that, the regulators do check the leadership. They want to check the quality of your leaders. How strategic are they? Are they able to think long term in terms of the vision? Are they able to set the course or chart the course of the school in the next 5 years, in the next 3 years? Are they aware of their challenges? Because when Ofsted is inspecting, they don't expect to find anything new. You should know everything. You should know what your weaknesses are. You should know what your areas of your strength, what they are, your areas of improvement. So Ofsted will definitely check the leadership. Are your leaders visionary enough? What about the staff? Are they able to look at this, cater for the staff? So staff well-being is important. Are they able to identify training needs of the staff? And are they meeting, these needs as it were? And also in terms of governance, so you have some schools have the board of governors. So they would also examine the quality of their decision making, the framework, and to see that everything is in alignment. And last but not the least, I jump to what I have as number 2 on that slide, which is safeguarding. If you notice, even in Nigeria, safeguarding is now becoming a very big deal. Child protection is a big deal. There are so many departments, particularly in Lagos State, where I am located. Child protection is a big deal. You cannot abuse the child. In fact, right now, I hear that the government has scrapped the use of cane in schools. So these are some of the things that we are so big on. And when we talk about safeguarding are policies that are put in place to prevent children from harm, not just physical harm. You prevent them from, emotional abuse. You prevent them from neglect. You prevent them from verbal abuse, from physical abuse, and what have you. So all sorts of abuse. These are policies that are in place, and they want to be sure what culture do you even encourage in your school. Does everybody in your school know your safeguarding procedures? So there is a big deal about, if you see something, say something. Do you know who to say or who to report the concern to? Under safeguarding too, the staff that are working in the school, are they also police checked? Are you sure they don't have any criminal record? These are the things that Ofsted will check under their framework. So for those of you who are using the UK curriculum, these are, and you want to be accredited by the UK government, you want to be recognized. These are the things that the inspectors would look out for. But as I have highlighted all of these things, I can tell you that there are so many things. There are still so many areas under each of this framework, each of this area that we need to further explore. Now, I will move on to our Nigerian government. So currently, in the Federal Ministry of Education oversees the quality of education in Nigeria, and so there are departments. Now, in Lagos State, where we have the Office of Education Quality Assurance that does that, and every state is empowered to go into schools and inspect, the school, to check for their records and what have you. And these are the 5 areas under the framework of the Federal Ministry of Education that inspectors also check the schools on. And so if you're looking at administrative and regulatory compliance, what they are trying to see is, are you registered with CAC? Are you registered with CAC? Do you have the necessary approval from the government? Do you have all your statutory records? I know that these inspectors are so big on records. They will ask you for your visitor's log. They will ask for discipline book. They will ask for attendance record. There are so many records that they also check, and they want to see how these are being used. Some go ahead to even ask about the financial records. They want to be sure that you are paying your taxes, accordingly. So these are the things that the inspectors check under the administrative and regulatory compliance. Now, there is also a bit of quality of teaching and learning. And what the inspectors do check under this area, they want to check the teacher's qualification. Are your teachers qualified? Do they have the TRCN? Do they have NCE? Do they have BEd? Do they have PDD? As the case may be, for your teachers, are they qualified? They want to check your curriculum, your scheme of work. They want to check, do you have the appropriate and recommended textbooks that your children are using? What about the instructional materials? Are they available, in your school? They also want to check your performance records, the student assessment records, how your children are fed. If it is a primary school, they will check, previous records and your data for the primary 6 exam. If it is a secondary school, they will check your WAEC results. And so these are the things that they check. Then under infrastructure and environment, they will go into the class to see that you've not gone overboard. The approved number is ratio of 1 to 30, even though yes, it can be more, but they want to be sure that teacher ratio, the class is not too overcrowded. And I want to applaud you, what the government is doing. Very, very recently, in an area, one of the slums around Lagos, they've opened a group of schools there, 20 schools located in one, to cater for over 20,000 children in that area, in that location. And that's laudable because the government is trying as much as possible to improve and increase the literacy rate and literacy level in Nigeria. So they check the class standards, they're checking the laboratories, are there specialist rooms, they check that under the infrastructure, sanitation, do we have male, female toilets, they will check the entire location, they will check the site just to be sure that the environment is conducive for learning and is equally safe. Then you have health, safety, and safeguarding. Under this framework, what the government is trying to check is, what are your safety school measures in case of fire? What are you doing in case is there a sick bay in your school? Do you have the necessary first aid? They're very big on first aid box. So even though they have not given schools approval to administer medicine to children or medication to children, but your first aid, so which means that in the school you must have teachers or maybe support staff who are first aiders, who are able to administer first aid in case of any injury or in case of any accident. They want to check if you have the safety certifications, health and inspection from the Federal Ministry the Ministry of Health. They want to check your child protection. Do you have training, the recommended training on child protection? And I'm so happy now that Lagos State government is taking that child protection training very, very seriously. So if you are in Nigeria, I would encourage you, please take that, undergo that training, and it's quite insightful. It would help you. For those of you who teach in international schools, also make sure that you have the safeguarding training, which is a yearly training, because there are updates every single year, just to keep us in check and to remind us of the purpose of which we are educators, which is to teach the children and to make sure that they are learning and they are safe. Now, for leadership and community relations, you would see that there is school governance. Again, it comes with, if there's a board of governor or governors, or if your principal, the head of school, the director, they want to check how are they making decisions. What do they really know the direction to go, and what have you? And when you talk about community relations, that has to do with your PTA. So are we in partnership with the parents? Do we involve the stakeholders? And so they would want to have evidence of that when they are coming for inspection. So if you look at this, you would see that that's the framework with which the inspectors go into schools to check, and it can be nerve-wracking, for many people who have undergone this process. Now, all of this I have mentioned, they are checklists. To be honest, they are checklists. Okay, so you have a list, a long list, and then you are checking, do I have this, do I have this? Because what the inspectors are looking out for, they are basically evidence. And you would see that schools who are not about quality assurance, who are not so big on quality assurance, it saps their energy. Why? Because they have to start looking for evidence, start looking for what to do, how to present their report to the inspectors. And you see them running helter-skelter. Some do not sleep for days on ending, simply because they need to meet all of those checklists to be sure that, so that the inspectors, can accredit them or can give them that mark of excellence. But for me, that is just a product. And so we are moving to that juicy part, which is about quality. All of this I've talked about, they're just compliance, for you to conform, for us to be sure that you are doing this, you are doing that. All that they are checking is just the product. The next slide, please. The next slide after this is the product. We are moving to the aspect of quality. When you hear quality, what comes to your mind? Please drop your comments in the chat room. What comes to your mind when we talk about quality? Quality is about standards. Quality is about excellence. Quality, is about outstanding performance. And so when you're talking about quality, what you are moving on is you want to create a proactive culture that will not just be working towards meeting expectations of inspectors. Rather, you want to create a system within your school where you are able to evaluate, where you are able to monitor, and you are constantly working at improving your educational input. You are improving your processes. You are constantly in that reflective mode, and then you are checking your outcomes from time to time. And what are you doing? You are ensuring that you are consistently meeting the standards. And for me, any school that takes this seriously has to do with a school that has integrity. I respect schools that value quality assurance over compliance, because this is a process, and it is an ongoing process. It's a continuous process. It never, ever ends. You keep moving. It's like a machine. You keep moving. And then if you notice that the machine, is not functioning as it should, then you find your lubricant. You lubricate it again, and it keeps moving, and it keeps moving. You are not waiting for someone to tell you, you have failed in this area. Areas where you fail, you know yourself, and you keep working to make sure that you close whatever gaps you have identified. This is the way to go. It is not just a checklist. Next slide, please. It's not just a checklist. Rather, you have a focus. Your attention, you are constantly paying attention on your goal. You are constantly paying attention on the outcomes. If you're a school owner, particularly private schools owner, it's not just about the profit. It's about what drives me. Why have I established, the school? What do we want to be known for? And you are constantly reviewing the processes to be sure that you are on the right path and you have not deviated from the vision of your school. That is the way to go. That when you do this, you just find out that life will be easy for you. Your teachers, yes, they will tell you that, oh, the pressure is a lot in my school. We are constantly doing this. They are never satisfied. Yes, you know why? I always tell my downlines that excellence is not a destination. Excellence is a journey. Is a continuous journey. It never ends. And so you shouldn't be satisfied Even though they've said to you, inspectors come and say to you that, oh, out of all the indicators, you are the best in Nigeria, or you are one of the first 10 in the world, or you are the best three in the best three private organization or private school in your host country. The truth is, don't relax. Don't relax. You've gone through that process, keep moving again. And I always say something, when you have reached the peak, when you have plateaued, sometimes you get too comfortable. And that is where the danger lies. So if your school is exceeding, if you're excelling in every area of your school life, I encourage you today, don't rest on your oars. Keep moving, and keep moving. Because when you keep moving, you will keep exploring, you will keep impacting other members of the society. People can come to you and learn. And one thing that I've seen is many people like to hoard information. The truth is, the more quality schools we have, the better for our country. It's so sad that our literacy level in Nigeria is very, very low. There are so many children that are out of school. Millions of children are out of school. And it's not our desire. We are not doing well. If our school is just doing well and we don't care about other schools around us, you might have schools that you want to adopt and impact them, share with them. They might not have all the resources, but let's keep sharing. Let us not be like the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea, the nutrients, everything flows into it. The resources flow into it, but it never flows out. And when it doesn't flow out, when you're too comfortable, the salt content becomes too high. What happens with the Dead Sea? Nothing again will survive in it. So this is just a word of admonition to school owners to please, if you are doing well and you are sure that you are doing well, share your knowledge, share your strengths, share your skills, share your strategies. The more we do that, the better our world will become. Now, let's move on into the nitty-gritty of our conversation this evening, which is, let's move away from compliance. We've talked a lot about compliance. Let's focus on quality. Now, what I have done in terms of the quality, and these are things that, yes, you will get all the tick, 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 tick from the inspectors, but they will not tell you how. So, for example, would they tell you, oh, your vision is good or your vision is not good? They won't tell you. You don't have a good vision. They won't tell you. And all of these things are things that make a school work, that make a school to be outstanding. So first off, we're going to look at the vision. So in your framework, that is where the idea comes from. When you, for the school owners, you're like, oh, and I can own a school. Some people have, some people started a school out of a need because they needed to meet a need. Some started from, oh, I think I can contribute to, to the society. Set a roadmap, for the kind in your school. I'm talking about the people, I'm talking about the stakeholders. And stakeholders are, the school owner, the parents, the children, the teachers, all your support staff, PTA, even community that you will engage with, and other partners that you're going to partner with. There are other apologies, I guess I went off. Okay. So we move on to the culture. It's the people that create the culture. Your vision drives the culture. The people you have in there also help drive the culture. Your processes, how we do things, day-to-day experience, how you do your how you run your school, your routines, what are they like? Your processes, your procedures, what are they like? And then feedback. This is an area that not so many people are comfortable with. But the truth is, if you take feedback seriously, then you are on the road, you're on the right trajectory to creating an excellent or operating an excellent school. I'm going to take this one after the other very quickly, and then we can move on from there. So let's look at vision, the next slide. Now, when you look at vision, people see, so the leader is the one who knows the way and who leads the way, according to John Maxwell. So as a leader, you must clearly and succinctly be able to articulate your vision, not only verbally, but also in writing. What shapes your school? What is the goal? What is your school known for? What drives you? What drives you? Why are you doing whatever it is you are doing? And so when you have an effective vision casting, it will transform into your daily activity, and everybody embraces it. And then it becomes something that attracts other people. So, for example, one of the things in our vision statement is that we'll be able to raise transformative global citizens. And so that also helps us, even in our curriculum. Are we raising transformative global citizens? Are the things we do, are they just local? When you're looking at our context, is it just local? Even the mix of people that you are working with, what kind of people are you working with? And how are we doing our thing? So it's all, for us, it's all about global practices, international standards, and that's what drives us, that's what shapes us. We believe that our children should be able to transform their world wherever they go. And so we don't take leadership, development of children, we do not take it lightly. We value our own core values, which is ingrained not only in the teachers, but also in the parents and the teachers. It just runs the way we do things. So it's important. If you want to have a qualitative quality assurance processes, it's important that we always review our vision. We are articulating our vision very clearly so that it just drives everything we do. Then the next thing we will look at are the people. And I am sorry, so for the vision, your vision must be very concise and clear. You don't need anything that is ambiguous. Go back to the previous slide. You don't need anything that is ambiguous. Do you know your audience, for example? How do you communicate your vision? Your vision cannot just be on paper. You must live it every day. You must model it to people in your conversation, during staff meetings, staff assemblies with the children, when you are communicating with the parents. Many times I will say to the parents, but this is not our culture. This is not where we started, or that's not the vision of the school. Let's go back. So it's more like a Bible. It's more like your Quran. It's like a guide. It's like a compass that sets the tone and the pace with which your school and the direction with which you are going. Let's move on to the next one, which is the people. So for the people, I've mentioned the people, the people, you have a network of teachers, a network of students, the administrators, the support staff, all the local stakeholders. But I want to focus and I want to drill more on the teachers, okay? In your vision, you need these people to help drive the vision of the school. So I'm focusing more. My lens is on the teachers. And why am I putting my lens on the teacher? I'm putting my lens on the teacher because research has actually shown us that the progress and the success of any child, the performance, the attainment of any child, a teacher contributes between 37 to 40% of it into the success of a teacher. So teachers on this platform, teachers on this call, you are very, very important. You have an influence. You don't have to be a head of department. You don't have to be a head of year group. You don't have to be given a title. As long as you are working with these young learners, please, you have an influence in the lives of these children. You have a great influence, much more than even what they will get at home. And so it is important for us, once we know the role that the teachers play in the life of a school, in the learning of a school, in the transformation of lives of children that have been committed to our hands, school leaders, I will appeal to us. For the teachers, we must make sure that we get our recruitment right. I understand that there is a Japa syndrome in the country, but the truth is you will keep training and retraining. You will not be tired of training because you are the one who owns that vision. You are the one who knows the goal. You are the one who has the end point. And so you must always begin with the end in mind. For you to have an outstanding school, you must make sure that you get your recruitment right. And when you have your recruitment right, and by that I mean teachers whose values align with the school's values. Once you have teachers who have very similar values, not outrightly the same, but similar values to the school values, half of your problem is solved. And so I would always say to people, I'd rather employ a teacher who has character, but is not competent. Is very key. I'd rather, because for such, they are humble, they are hungry for their personal development, and I can pour myself in them and they will grow. It doesn't matter if after 3 years they leave our school, it's okay. But what is important is another life has been transformed. Take those skills to another place. Well, I mean, I'm not encouraging teachers to leave their schools, please. And if I have any of my team members here, I'm not encouraging you to leave, but I am just saying let us not be afraid to train and develop our teachers. When you have the buy-in, you can see the professional development. Many teachers are hungry for professional development. And if you're a teacher and you are also waiting for your school leader to train you, you are getting it wrong. I always say something, whatever is yours is yours. Nobody can take it away from you. So invest in yourself, grow, develop, because all the knowledge, all the skills that you learn on the job, wherever you go, is for your own benefit. Okay. Yes, you're adding value to the school, but it's yours. Nobody can take it away from you. So please do not just wait for the school leaders to train you and say, they've not trained us in the last 3 years. They've not trained us in the last 4 years. What are you doing to yourself? If truly you value the children in your care, spend all those 3,000 naira webinars here and there. We do see them. It's not all the courses that are expensive. You don't have to wait until you have billions of naira to travel to the UK for training or for online learning. There are so many PDF guides that can help you. There are so many low-level certifications that you can get from Allison, from Coursera, from Future Learn. There are so many courses. Pay, spend your money and develop yourself. Then professionalism is at the center of it. You must ensure that you have teachers who are professional. But if you're talking about professionalism, you as a school leader must also know what professionalism is. Are you bound by the teacher standards? And all the things that are expected of teachers, do you know what they are? Do you have a good relationship in your conversation with the teachers? Because you find that some school leaders, talk in a condescending tone. If you're doing all of these things, your processes will be awkward and you won't get it right. So, and also give the teachers, give them a voice. There is this culture of, oh, my Oga is coming. I can't talk to my Oga. How is that? How are they? They are very important. Let their voice, let it be heard. Give them opportunity in your process. Make sure they are always in the classroom. Many times school leaders are stuck in the office, sorting out one documentation or the other. But if you value your teachers, they will be the one to keep helping you in terms of the feedback. They will give you the right feedback. They will give you the right observation. It will be on the go. They're not going to wait for things to go south and waiting for somebody to salvage it before you are aware. So which is why it's important that we value our teachers, we take them very seriously, because they are the ones that we help in the interpretation of that dream. And when you have gotten your recruitment right, we have the teachers, you have the support staff, even your admin staff, your admission officers, those who are the front desk, your security man, your plumber, those who are taking care of facilities. All these people, when they have the buy-in from the school or from their leaders, the truth is they help us to create that positive culture. And people are wondering, why is everybody so respectful in this school? People are wondering, why is everybody leading themselves in this school? They are wondering, why is it that you are so proactive? Why? Because these people, they have the right buy-in, they are professional, and you have given them a voice. You have given them something to leverage on, and they will help create that positive culture that you desire to have. So school culture. How then do we create a positive school culture? Do you have clearly defined rules? Your rules are your rules. Do they know what your expectations are? Because some of the things that cause issues when it comes to school culture is the fact that we as owners of the school, as school leaders, we don't even know what our expectations are. And so that's why sometimes I wonder, some people will tell you, oh, I run a blended curriculum with 4 different curricula. And I wonder, which direction are we going? Where exactly? So you must get it right. You must have your own expectations. Set your expectations. What are my expectations for my teachers? What are expectations in communication? What are expectations for attendance? What are expectations for taking leave? What are expectations for my teaching and learning? How do I put things on the board? Have expectations, make sure they are clear, they are defined. How do we assess our children? How do we report behavior? Have expectations. When all these things are stated, there won't be a point of where people are saying, oh, I am not aware, I don't know. And in your expectations, in setting your rules, make sure that everybody knows that you are fair. You know, they have that knowledge. They know that, oh, when things are not going right, if a staff harasses another staff, they know that they won't say, oh, it's because she's close to Mrs. whoever or Mrs. Omotosho and she can get away with it. They know that your rules are your rules and you live by those rules. You are fair. People, it's important that your downlines see you as somebody who is fair and who is equally being held by the rules of the school. And in creating a positive school culture, we must ensure that people have a sense of belonging. You must create a climate of support. You shouldn't be standing to catch people doing wrong every time. Ah, I've caught you. You did not do this last year, and all of that. No. Okay, you failed the first time. I always say it's okay for you to tell me you don't know. I'd rather you tell me you don't know than for you to be forming you know for me and come and give me substandard work. Rather, just be open, and they can only be open when you have created that climate of support, when they know that, oh, you know what, I can be vulnerable with my leader. And I can say, you know what, Ms. Omotosho, I mean, I do have conversations with my middle leaders, and they will say to me, now, off record, can I say this off record? And it's always my joy when they say to me, Ms. Omotosho, can we say this off record? And you're not going to take action. I just need you to know that these are my struggles. I am always very happy because it shows that there is a level of trust. And I'm happy that, you know, they will see me as somebody who can support them through their growth. Yeah. And is it safe? Are people safe to air their opinions? Yes, I understand that not everybody is emotionally intelligent, but if they don't air their opinions, if they don't feel safe, how then do we want to create that culture? So let's create an environment where people, you know, feel safe. And then I'm talking about the fourth aspect of our QA process framework, which is the processes. These are our actions, our framework that we use to manage our daily operations, that we use to manage, so your medium-term plans, your long-term goals, your short-term goals, how our daily, our operational activities, our daily operational activities, what systems have we put in place? What are the expectations? What are the actions that we expect? For example, if a child comes into school, you know, in the morning, are there processes to which they settle in? If you don't see your children in one day or for 2 days, for 3 days, what are the processes? What are the expectations? If you have a child who is bullying another child, what are the processes that you put in place to ensure that that child is safe? If you're having your assessment, what leads to that assessment? If you're talking about teaching and learning, what constitutes teaching and learning in your school? What are the expectations? What are the organized actions that you put in place? If you have a system where there is learning work, do your leaders know what to look out for as they go into the classes per time? Do the middle leaders know what they're looking out for? Do the heads of the department, do they know what to check per time? Do they know that, oh, I will have to start by checking this, then the next thing I check is this, and everything will still align with your vision. It would align with the strategic goals that you've set, and they will align with your medium-term goal. Do they know what you have on your school improvement plan? Does everybody, as you are working day in, day out, are we just busy for nothing, or we are working towards a goal? So all of this, even for those in facilities, for example, those who are maintaining the building, the infrastructure, do they know when to do the fire drill? Is there a time for it? Must they do it once in a session, or is it every term? When there is an accident on the playground, do your teachers know how to report this without saying, you caused it, in fact, you are fired? Do they feel safe to report, accidents, issues, concerns when they see one? When they are communicating with parents, what are the processes for communicating with parents? Do they know when to escalate? All of these things that I'm saying, it does not come cheap. It comes with a price, because you will document. If you don't have that clear documentation, everything will be scattered all over the place, and you will just be running, like a cat race. So, how about our curriculum-related processes? Do they have time where they have their planning meeting? Do they have a review? Do they analyze their data? Are there steps in place? How do they know what to use, to inform the next steps for the children? Are they free to review their curriculum and say, you know what, we've taught these children for 2 weeks, maybe we've taught them algebra, and they're still not getting it. Even though our curriculum document says we must teach it for 3 weeks, but we have to stop because we can see that it's not working. Let's find something else to work. And they are free to do that. Do they know that they can do this? Their data, how do they manage the data? How do they know the number of boys and girls in the school? When they are looking at their data, are they able to look at it and say, oh, these children, they have special education needs. And when they have one, this is how we are going to escalate, and this is how we inform the parents. Do they know all of these things? The data, is it just, okay, at the end of every learning period, let's have our assessment done. And so, okay, let us mark, we put the scores. What do they do with the scores? They are everyday teaching. What are they doing with the information that they have, that they've garnered over time, based on how their experience with with the children? What about the administrative process? When children come late, your admission process, do we have clearly stated processes for this? Our classroom, how do we teach the children? How do we reinforce behavior in the class? How do we communicate with the children in the class? How do we celebrate them? How do we make sure that their behavior is at par? How do we make sure that we promote, British values or a sense of democracy? What have you? What about your HR processes? When there is an issue, do you have a document that you know that you are covered with HR? There's something that you are held by. Do you have a staff handbook that highlights the code of conduct, for all your staff members? Are these things in place? There are so many things you can look at under processes. And last but not the least, we are looking at feedback. Feedback, like I said, is just like, many people do not like feedback. Like, they see it as an attack. If you are one of those people who see feedback as an attack, it is because they don't like me. You too, when you are giving feedback, is it a two-way thing? Are you mindful of the person's body language? Are you mindful of your word choice, your tone? Are you mindful of all of this, such that it will become acceptable to the person? How can you? I remember the very first head of school that I worked with. God bless her soul, wherever she is now. She can tell you that you are stupid, and you will still be smiling and agreeing to her that you are stupid without her using the word stupid. She was very, very tactical, very diplomatic in how she will present the feedback. If you are the worst teacher in the school, there is a way she will present it to you. You will know by yourself, you will agree with her that truly, I have not pulled my weight enough and I'm ready to move forward. How do you see? So let us not see feedback. Some people believe that, oh, they are the best. Again, humility is very, very important in feedback. Now, in giving feedback, are we specific? You want to look at review your processes. Do you give specific feedback and not just vague, generic feedback? You must be very, very observant. Let your feedback be balanced. There's something we call the sandwich approach. Start with something positive, then include, what the areas of improvement you want to see, and also, the second layer or the third layer of that sandwich will be a positive feedback as well. So that's what we call the sandwich approach. Sell it, say that it's balanced, and the person does not feel like, oh, does it mean I'm so worthless? I'm not even good at all. Please, let's be mindful of people. A lot of people are going through so many things, And we need to help ourselves, yes, to be open to our weaknesses, but for more importantly, not just for us to accept them, but to take action on them. When you are giving feedback, we should not, is it goal oriented? Do you have a goal that you want to achieve, from that feedback? It's not, oh yeah, it's good, or it's bad. Which area of it is bad? What area needs improvement? And what steps can I take to improve on those areas? Now, this feedback will only happen if you have teachers who feel safe, if you have children who also feel safe, if you have parents who are equally feel like you listen to them, you have an open door policy, they can come to you and talk to you at any time. These things would only work when all your stakeholders feel safe, feel comfortable to give you the constructive feedback that will help improve your process. Yeah. And in giving the feedback, we must be mindful of our body language. We must be mindful of your word choice. You must be mindful of your tone. And it's important that you focus on the behavior and actions. Do not attack personality. That's how you always do. You are never stable. You are always late. That's what you always do. You are such a very difficult person to work with. I mean, let us not attack the person. These are the actions, and this is the impact that these actions will have on your practice, on the students, on the school, and on the overall vision of the school. So let's focus on behavior and the actions of the teachers. Now, in all of this, for us to be ready, to be constantly ready for inspection, for us to have quality at the center of what we do, there are a few tools that I have highlighted here. Surveys. Do you get surveys from your parents? Surveys from the children? I'll share a quick example based on these surveys with you very quickly. About 3 years ago, I've been hearing that comment here and there. Your children, the way they are not nice to each other. I was like, really? I go to the playground, I don't see anything. I asked the teachers, they say, at that time, the teachers too were frustrated at the children's behavior and what have you. And guess what? It was from survey that we actually took an action. And so what did we do? We administered the survey. We do that every term, survey to the children. And so one of the questions I asked was, do you feel safe at school? Are you happy to come to school? Is there any form of bullying? Are your friends nice to you? If they said yes, so if the answer is no, give reasons or explain what actions, that your friends have displayed, over time that shows that they are not nice to you. And I read all of those comments. And when I saw it, I called the teacher. I said, look at what your children are saying. What do we do? And that was how we introduced what we call the kindness challenge. And do you know what now? That kindness challenge is now a big deal. It has even helped reduce the level of, yes, there are still cases of children are saying, you're a bully, but now we focus more on what's that kind action that you have done? What's our kindness board? What's our key focus for the week? What is the kindness jar? Let's measure how much, what kind of action have I taken for the teacher, for the children? We shared names. So the teacher can pick a child and the teacher must be accountable for showing that particular child a kind act. And whoever the child also picks, it is not by buying gifts. We don't need teachers to spend their money. Nobody earns well enough. I mean, everybody is still looking for more money. So it's not about money, but it's about your gestures, your compliments. And so things became better over time. And now it's everywhere around. You hear kindness, 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 kindness. So from survey, it helps you improve your process. Because if you don't sort out that kindness thing, if inspector comes, and our children, because they will ask them questions, and I will now have children that will say, oh, they are not nice to me. How do I defend that? So if their process is not in place, you would not catch it in time. And that's the power of quality assurance. Survey to the teachers. Do your teachers feel empowered enough? Do they even feel that they can, relate with you? Do they feel that their work-life balance, are they able to manage their workload? Are they happy? Do they feel like we look after them well enough? Surveys from the teachers. I remember at a time too, in the teacher survey, they said the children's behavior, da, 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 da. And we had to do a training based on their feedback to say, you know what, understand your context. The context of the children, where I am from, They're from a very, very diverse background. So understand the context and let's use the strategy. You cannot use the strategy with which your parent trained you or you grew up with to add. You cannot implement that for the children. Demographics have also changed. The children we are teaching now are Gen Z, Gen Alphas. How you teach them, the behavior management strategies are different. And so we have to do some training around that. So the surveys are very good too, even to the parents. How do the parents feel? You are feeling the pulse of the parents. You get a lot of insights about your school when you administer survey. So when you get all of this, it helps you to refine, to modify, and make a little bit of changes here and there or improvements here and there in your processes. School evaluation review. Just like I said, you must not be caught unawares. If you are constantly in that reflective mode, you do your SWOT analysis. What are our strengths? As a school, if you're a middle leader, as a head of year, as a head of department, what are the strengths in my department? What are the weaknesses? What are their opportunities and what are the threats? If you constantly do this, I kid you not, you don't have anything to worry about when inspection time, when it comes. Do you constantly do book scrutiny or is only when inspectors are coming? That's when you remember that you will go into the classroom to check the children's books. Remember, you get a lot from the children's books. You get, you feel the pulse, you feel how the teachers are teaching the children, how the children are learning. And in your learning work, you are asking the children questions. There are some things I say to my teachers and they wonder, but you hardly come to the classroom. I tell you, I say, well, I got the information anyhow. Is it true or not? Why? Because it's either I've checked the survey or I've had some children send an email to me saying, Ms. Omotosho, you said this should happen, it's not happening. Or you have some children who would boldly walk to you and say, can I have a meeting with you? And they will share their experience. And there are times that they're coming in the morning, how is it? Oh, you look so sad. Oh, or what has your day been like? Or you just casually walk to the playground. I'm sharing my secret now. But it doesn't change anything anyway. We have to do this. You don't have anything to be afraid of if you are doing the right thing at every time. So we get a lot of information, both qualitatively and quantitatively, through our learning world. Then lesson observation. I always say to people, out of all these tools I've listed here, the one I don't believe in the most is the lesson observation, even as a school leader. Why? Because teachers act. My head teacher is coming to school, is coming to my class. The lesson. And you know one thing, some teachers give themselves away because if you introduce a new procedure, the teacher will say, no, we don't normally do this. This is new. So just be yourself, okay? If there's anything that helped me in the classroom was the fact that I always say, what you see is what you get. This is me on a regular basis. I'm not going to tweak anything because you are coming to my class. And if you come and see what I need to improve on, the better for me. That again goes to the power of feedback. Be open. Don't say, oh, I have been teaching for 20 years. And so nobody can tell me that there's a better way of doing things. Let's be open-minded and let's receive the feedback as we should. And then last but not the least, we are looking at our policies. Our policies are very powerful. In fact, research has shown us that for a school to be outstanding and effective, they should have a minimum, and hear me, a minimum about 60 different kinds of policies. That's when you know whether a school is working or not. What that means is the school has crossed all their T's and they've dotted all of their I's. It is a school that is reflective. When you say, okay, handwriting policy, reading policy, literacy policy, math policy, teaching and learning policy, assessment policy, behavior policy, and communication policy, everything, fire and health and safety policy, safeguarding policy, and you have all sorts of policies here and there. You can't get them wrong. You can't get it wrong. If you have your policies that are rich and they are in tune with your vision. Again, I go back to the beginning, which align with your vision. When we do all of these things, we are on our way. There are so many checklists that we can use. So, for the checklist, we actually have what you have for the long term. You have which leaders, school leaders are responsible because they are in charge of setting strategic objectives for the school. So when you have your school improvement plan, or other people know them as school development plan, it helps you to move in the right direction. Yeah. So, sorry, there was something I forgot to talk about in behavior. Online safety. So your technology, they are part of things that you check. Okay, how safe? For those of you whose students use laptops in their schools, are you sure they're really safe? Online safety is also a very big deal that you must also check, in terms of your quality assurance processes. And so, yeah, so these are some of the things. So like I was saying, you must have a checklist, like 1 year checklist. What are the things? How do we check this? At what point? Every 3 months, these are the things we do. Every year, these are the things we do. Every term, these are the things we do. Every month, these are the things we must ensure we have done. Every half term, every 2 weeks, every week, and then you streamline it to every day. There are things, there are checklists, there are descriptors that you can also put together to check. And once you use all of these things effectively, and you are holding your team, your line managers, or sorry, your downlines accountable for them, then you have nothing to worry about. Then you can see that, of course, you don't have your forever inspection ready, when that time comes. And so that will bring us to the end of the presentation. And I hope that you benefited, from the session. And at this point, I welcome questions or comments.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Omotosho. That was powerful. Do we have any members of the audience who have questions, or you have contributions, or there is something that stood out for you in the course of the session? Can we share? Let's take this few minutes to share before we take our leave. Yeah, Kehinde Jonathan, she says, thank you so much, Ma. Do we have any other person giving us a feedback? There were a lot of things that stood out for me, even though I'm not a school leader. Yeah. But yeah, this could pass for a leadership development, conference. And so anybody who is a leader has need. Yeah. Olaleko Ajayi says he really appreciates the presentation. Thank you very much, Ma. Emmanuel Abua's hand is up. Okay. Emmanuel, you can unmute yourself and speak.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ma.
You're welcome.
Thank you to the speaker. Although I came in quite late, I'm so sorry. I was on another call before this one. So, I do not know if I can or we can have the recording so that I can follow suit, please. I know that it must have been an impactful session. So let me not miss in totality. Let me share from the other side by listening to the recordings. If possible, please, I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Ma.
All right, you're welcome, Emmanuel. Thank you very much for your for communicating that. Yes, this session is live on YouTube as well. Thesis Education YouTube. So you can, check it there. After this session, it will drop on YouTube and you can rewatch it and re-listen. And then you'll see other series that we've had so far, and feel free to consume. They are all resources that every school leader, every teacher, every educator needs to yeah, thank you very much, Emmanuel. So Kehinde Jonathan says, what stood out for me is having so much policies. Yes. And not just having those policies, actually documenting them, because you'll just be here and there and everywhere. If you have the policies in your head and they are not properly communicated to those people who are following you, right? So as much as you should have those policies, please have them documented so that everybody, can defend them at every point in time. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're looking out for more. Yes, Kehinde, totally agree with you. So thank you for those great insights. That's from Bossman. Thank you, sir. I don't know if you would like to say one or two things before we wrap this meeting up.
Okay, thank you, Eunice. Okay, so I was going to ask Ms. Omotosho a question, and it is, while I know she has talked about this, most times it's also good to reframe people's mind. I've seen people focus more on the compliance part. The inspectors are coming, we are going through inspection, we want to get accreditation for this and all of that. At the end of the day, it seems to be like an event for the certification and not to entrench quality within the system, and which are two different things. I remember my first few years in the sector long ago, we visited a school and they had a library, a physical space, but there are no books and all of that. So we asked the school owner how they got accreditation or got past the approval from WAEC, NECO, and some other organization. Plainly, she told us she borrowed books to put in those places. And when they got the approval, she returned the books back to the owners and locked up the library. You understand? And I have never had something like that before. Maybe because I was new to the sector then. I had never. And I was looking at her. You locked up the library once you've gotten the approval. So, and she never had a plan to bring back. That's the truth. She's not the first. I've seen a second. While others have not revealed their real intention, I have seen through some of these things, people borrowing books, people borrowing policy, people just changing the name of the school from a particular policy, adapting it to their own to get approval. At the end of the approval, they don't get to use those policies again. They don't follow through. So instead of us just focusing on the approval we want to get or the certification and all of that, why not focus on the fact that the aim of compliance at the end of the day is to entrench a system of quality, a sustainable system of quality across the school in a way that even when we are not facing external scrutiny, internally we continually ask ourselves questions and keep ourselves up to the standards we have set during those times, and we keep sustaining them. So whether somebody is looking over us or they are not looking over us, the truth is students and every stakeholder looking up to our school for performance, they are assured of the fact that we have set standards that we follow and we stay by them. You understand? And I think this is one of the goals of this session. Beyond preparing people for compliance, preparing for certification, it's important that we establish this culture across the system that we lead, so that also overflow from our school to the ecosystem generally. The whole entire ecosystem of both private and public education should support the fact that while we are working towards compliance, the truth is the end goal at the end of the day is that we are assured of quality across board. A few days ago, I watched a video online, and all of us probably have seen it. The president of Kenya was talking. I was saying, no, we are good people. We speak good English as Kenyans. He said, have you heard the Nigerians speak English? That was exactly what he said. Have you heard the Nigerians speak English? You will need an interpreter to understand what he's saying. You understand? Ruto has a way of throwing jabs against Nigeria, which I understand. But there is something I also learned a couple of years ago. I worked with a senior friend in the sector who is the only Nigerian representative on a group of 30 international schools across the world. I think he's the president of USOSA now, Unity Schools Association in Nigeria, the alumni team. And he told me something. He said, no Nigerian school was invited to that, what do we call it? And the international school systems you get to, you see Kenyan schools and all of that. There are things that we need to learn, basically, beyond just complying, but focusing on ensuring that our system speaks quality. And they don't just speak for it when external people are with us. They speak about it when nobody is watching, and we keep sustaining it. And that's going to be my view. And that was going to be what I was going to ask Mrs. Omotosho as the expert to please help us talk to people about again and again. Having said that, I want to say thank you very much, Ms. Omotosho. For those who don't know her, She's a powerhouse of knowledge and expertise within this area. Led schools, led teams, and I'm not in doubt of her capacity. These are people you can, if you take Ms. Omotosho and you kidnap her, you can take 5 or 10 books out of her, you understand, around this and several others. So thank you very much for making out time. I know that the 45 minutes or 1 hour you were given is not enough. It's more like a taster session, but sometimes when experts talk and those who also understand them when they speak, they understand the perspective, and people that can then go further to research and see what they can do to align with the thoughts that we have shared. We don't want to make it too long so that people don't get bored. They are more like a masterclass sessions. You drop the bites and people take it and they run with it. And to everyone who showed up for this, and to everyone who will also be watching after on several other platforms, we say thank you very much and for making this happen. And to Eunice and Mireti for working behind the scene day and night to deliver this. Thank you very much for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know if Ms. Omotosho would like to say anything else.
All right. Thank you very much, Bossman. Thank you for that, for your compliment. I do appreciate it. Yes, we align in terms of our thoughts. And the truth is, we cannot overemphasize the importance of quality. For me, and which was why I talked about the processes, let's focus on, let's just keep aiming to beat whatever goals and standards that we've set for ourselves. Let us not be satisfied with status quo as a school owner. Keep looking for what is the best. What's the best practice? What aligns, with your vision? I have kept saying it, the vision, your vision, your vision. I have been on a school's website that, I wasn't sure what they were doing. I look at, they have accreditation, American accreditation, Nigerian accreditation, British accreditation, and one other accreditation. And I'm like, so what exactly, where are they going? Okay, so let us define, let's have a clearly defined vision and goals for those of us who are school owners. Set your vision and let your vision drive everything. Let it be ingrained in every single thing you do in your school. And let's also ensure that we keep empowering people. Don't be satisfied with "I'm the best." Your being the best is not enough. Handhold other schools. They cannot be like you. You have the blueprints. That's the truth. You have the blueprints. And so there's no way like, oh, they're imitating me. Even if they imitate you, the more the better. The more quality schools we have around Nigeria, around the world, the better for every one of us. So let's work together to make Nigeria great. Let us work together to improve the quality of education across the world. And I wish everyone all the best as you explore, as you go on and fine tune and refine your processes in your schools.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Omotosho. Thank you, Bossman. And thank you to everyone who joined. Yes. Every of the speakers, they have mentioned that collaboration is key. Yeah, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Thank you. Collaboration is key. You see, this era of doing my thing by myself alone, let my school be the best, let my own environment be the best. It has a way of, it has a ripple effect, yeah, because eventually society, if society is not good together, it comes back to haunt you, right? So collaboration is key, collaboration is necessary. Let's work together as school leaders, as educators and teachers to ensure that quality becomes a thing that goes around, not privatized in our own institutions. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. In your journey to becoming the best school leader, the best educator that you want to be, This is Education is your friend. I have dropped the YouTube link on the chat. Please feel free to visit the link and see resources that will help you in your career We have this meeting once every 2 months, and very shortly you'll be hearing from us about the next edition. Feel free to invite your friends, your colleagues, and co-workers and all of that. Until we see again, I would say bye-bye from me. Thank you very much for showing up, and we appreciate you. Ms. Omotosho, thank you so much. Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Yeah. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Emmanuel. Totally appreciated. Thank you, Kehinde. Thank you.